a flick on that.
Can he put it into the path of Latterline? He's thinking about going himself. Latterline, and Latterline! Oh, that's a wonderful goal!
Now on to Benjamin. Just holding off of Benjamin, twisting, turning, that's
It's Liam Henderson to deliver. David Gray has scored.
Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. We are 24 hours and 15 minutes out from the Edinburgh Derby. Is it a quarter to kick-off? I might be wrong. Are we 24 and a half hours or 24 hours and 15? Who knows?
I think it's
I am joined by Craig and Harry as we look forward to tomorrow evening's big game, as the professionals would call it, Harry, in your industry. You know, just the big game of the week. How are you feeling? Hibs free weekend. Looking for. You obviously weren't with us. Sorry, Craig wasn't with us. We spoke about Dundee United. Hibs won, so I'm assuming you're still good.
I think that was for you, Craig. I'm not sure.
Well, definitely wasn't. I said Harry, but.
Oh no, but then you said Craig halfway through. Yeah, no, mate. Hibs are good, unbeaten this weekend, going into a derby midweek. I don't think you can beat it, mate. We're flying.
An unbeaten weekend. Craig,
Yeah,
how are we? Craig, very quickly, what did you make of the Dundee United game?
Mate, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the game. I was speaking to my brother the day after, and it's actually probably the most I've enjoyed a game at Easter Road in a while. See, the thing is, I was actually saying I was ill when the derby was on. I was at it, but I wasn't feeling great. And obviously, the derby's brilliant in that. But see, when you're 100%, and then you get to celebrate last minute, it just hits different. It was so good. I very much enjoyed it, and everything surrounding the new signing. It gave me sort of vibes of when Canberra signed in January and then scored right away. The big man Soto, hard as fuck. I just loved everything about it.
Happy days.
Sorry, Soto.
We obviously shared our thoughts on the game last week, so we won't go any further in the Dundee United game. But you would hope the Hibs can take some momentum from that and some feel good on the back of a good performance against Rangers, obviously, and then a win against Dundee United. The derby tomorrow, as everyone will say, it'll take care of itself and all that nonsense. But what does it sort of mean right now for both clubs? Obviously, we're going to a team that are sitting top of the league, off the back of a shaky result last week. Hibs looking to, stretch our gap to the team behind us and, get right up Motherwell's, right in behind Motherwell, who are currently sitting in fourth place. Where are you at with the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think for me, at Hearts, when we've played them twice this season, haven't impressed me in the derbies. I don't think they've looked particularly up for it, as you would normally see in a Hearts team. I know the last half hour or so they were pretty rampant against us. However, I think squad-wise, since the last one, I think our squad's improved, and I think that without Shanklin, Devlin and Halkett in this game, I think theirs is worse than the last time they played us. So to say that we're going in, I wouldn't say we're favourites by any means, but I'd say we shouldn't have any fear going into this game. We should absolutely have belief off the back of the last couple of performances. We can take the game to them and get a really good result.
Yeah, Craig, it was a couple of really solid performances. Like obviously, the Dundee United game for a period looked like it was going the other way, but the team showed a character and a spirit, I suppose, that you would certainly expect them to be looking to build on tomorrow night.
Yeah. It's difficult. I'd actually be interested to maybe somebody out there will have a stat on it on whether form actually affects a derby or not. I suppose you'd be able to analyse results previous to a derby and maybe get some sort of stat on that. But I don't think confidence is ever a bad thing, right? We've scored 3 goals. We've got a last minute winner. So it has to help us, surely. Surely it can't hinder us in any way, anyway. So it'll be interesting to see whether we're firing right from the start. We've got a couple of players at the moment that do look like they're in good nick, and obviously there's definitely some concerns going into the game. Set pieces being one of them, but I just hope that that we can use the confidence that we've got in a scoring sense, and maybe get a few more elements of the defensive display that we're putting against Rangers, and kind of combine the last two, if you like, and that should give us a good chance anyway.
Yeah, Harry, what do you, Craig mentions form there. Both the form, at least in the recent history, since maybe since the last derby, isn't all that different. To be fair, between the two sides, both teams obviously went out in the Scottish Cup in the last 8 games, which would take us back to the last derby. Both teams have lost once in the league. Hearts have won one more game than Hibs have that we drew in that period of time. Like, talk about form and momentum and stuff. Everything felt like it was going against Hibs even 10 days ago, and it feels different again all of a sudden. New signings, etc. How do you see the game panning out in that sense? Do you think there's more pressure on Hearts because they're top of the league and they've just lost a game for the first? It kind of felt like a pivotal, or does feel like a real pivotal moment for them, and can we capitalise on that?
Yeah, for me on the form, I think that in hindsight, the reaction to the week was probably like that week when we got beat back to back off Falkirk and Dunfermline. As I've said a couple of times, really bad week. However, people were demanding the club overhaul, sack Gray, etc. In hindsight, we've now lost 1 league game in our last 8, and the last few months have actually been pretty good. Hearts being top of the table definitely makes everything that's bad feel so much worse. However, the key thing that you touched on there, every single ounce of pressure from this game is on Hearts. Hibs are absolutely here to play spoiler. Like, if we lose, obviously it's crap, we've lost a derby, but in the long run for the season, it's like losing away to Hearts, Celtic, Rangers isn't that impactful in the chase for like 4th, 5th place. However, if they get beat off us, they've lost 2 on the spin. They're going to Ibrox at the weekend. They'll be absolutely shiting themselves. So for us, we need to play spoiler. Like, obviously in my head, what it's like with a derby. It's one of the, as Hibs fans, one of the only things we care about is trying to win these games. So for me, we just need to put in a really solid performance. And I think with the squad that we've got available, if we play to the best of our abilities, I think that we've got a really good chance of coming out on top, regardless of how Hearts play.
So what do you think? How do Hibs Hearts? They're obviously unbeaten, Craig, this season at home. Only dropped points a couple of times at Tynecastle. How do you envisage Hibs going to Tynecastle and hurting them?
As I mentioned earlier, I believe Hearts are the top scorers at set pieces this season. I'm sure I've seen that on one of their games. So obviously you would definitely look to set pieces to being massive. I mean, I think that's probably just a fact in football as a whole, really.
You've seen that just during the week as well.
Exactly.
Four goals in the second half from set pieces. Hearts conceded for a set piece as well.
Exactly, and they're quite often overlooked in football. And maybe people look for sort of open play, free scoring goals, but I think it's naive to deny the importance of set pieces in football. So that would be the first area that I would look to for us to be really, really strong with. Like you say, 4 of the 5 goals during the week there were set pieces. So there's something that we're going to have to definitely improve in a defensive sense, because if we concede the level of goal that we did, we will be in trouble. So we'll have to improve on there. And then just something that I noticed specifically in the last derby, and it probably leads a bit into actually team selection, but I'll kind of hold off on that. I'll just kind of make the point, was shutting off Kizaridis. I know a lot of the Hibs fans like to poke fun at him, especially off the back of that. But I thought we'd done a great job in the first sort of 65, 70 minutes of the last derby of doubling up on him and stopping him being effective. Basically, we were stopping him cutting inside, which is what he likes to do. And I think he's shown that pretty much in all the big games since he's come to Scottish football, big games and smaller games as well, to be honest. So I'd be looking for us to do that again, to stop him producing, and because I actually think it's very, very dangerous, and it can kind of him creating chances when he's cutting in onto his right foot, whether that be taking a shot or setting somebody else up, can swing the momentum for Hearts, especially at Tynecastle. So I think that's important, and there's a certain guy in the midfield that I would be bringing back in to help out our right wing back, whether that be Paslak or Megwa, to to help them do that.
And that's how we tease for later on, is it? You're not going to declare that
That is,
name
that
just
is.
now. I had a clear. Craig's mentioned there like Kizaridis and his potential threat. But let's look at it from a Hibs point of view. How do Hibs actually go to Tynecastle? Maybe try and get, at Easter Road. Obviously, we were for the first hour very much the dominant side. Maybe out with perhaps without dominating the ball, but it fit the sort of the way the game was going. Hibs were very much in charge of that game. Obviously scored early at Christmas time as well. Do you think we'll see changes? Is there players that you think they have to start? Like, where's your head at?
I think from a Hibs perspective, the players that we need to best take advantage of on our side is, I think, Scarlett. I just think he's just ridiculously talented to be playing at Hibs, and we just need to take full advantage whilst we have him. I think that he's far better than anything they've got, and if he decides to dominate the game in the way that he can, he will. And I think that Nicky Cadden, now that we know that he's starting, we need to find a way to mitigate his potential defensive attributes in comparison to his attacking ones. We just need to make sure that he's in positive attacking situations where he can put good balls into the box without leaving us exposed at the back. That's going to be a tricky balance for Gray to strike. But I think if he gets that right, then we'll be sorted. And one other weak link, J Star did mention it. I don't think it's a right back so much. I think that Findlay on the ball is someone that you absolutely need to exploit. When we played Motherwell away and they just let Handley have the ball as much as he wanted because they knew he wouldn't do anything with it. I think you just need to let him. That should be the trigger for us to press. As soon as Findlay has the ball, everybody just shut down everything around him and he'll panic, and that's how we got chances like Mulligan's chance, for instance, or St Mirren's for Halkett to get the red card. And then there was another red card a couple of weeks back again. Findlay got caught in the ball, underpassed it, and then teams broke. He is a massive weak point on the ball for Hearts. He's quite good defensively when he's heading away crosses and stuff, but on the ball, he's a problem that we need to get after.
Yeah, I find that's really interesting. Like, I think obviously Craig Halkett's suspended, but Hearts defensively have had a lot of praise this season. I mean, and at the end of the day, they do have the best defensive record in the league. But it's Stuart Findlay. Do you know what I mean? Like, is like they're a good unit, but I think individually you can isolate them, you can get at them, and I think Frankie Kent is likely who's going to come in and play at centre back with them, and I would love to see Hibs go and play Shuto and Scarlett up front as a two. I know against Dundee United it was more like a sort of front three with Boyle and Yuan quite wide. I'd love to see Hibs just put two up there and just play 2v2 up there. I'd actually play Josh Campbell in behind them as well, and I think Hibs just need to try and be quite simple. Put the ball down their throat, get them turned. I think Hearts like to defend with the game in front of them, and they will. I'm not saying that Stuart Findlay won't enjoy and Frankie Kent. They will enjoy a physical sort of battle as well. But I think if you get the ball in behind them with quality, you can get them turned. I think that's where you will get the most joy. And then with that, you get defenses turned. Your team moves up, and that's where you can then apply the pressure. Sort of, even if you don't win that, the ball goes in the channel, maybe Hearts get out, but your midfield can come 20 yards up, your defence can come 20 yards up, and Tynecastle's not a big pitch, so you can really condense it and really force Hearts into mistakes. And I think the first 10-15 minutes is massive in the game. I think Hibs do need to. I think Hearts will come out hot. That's if I'm being honest. I don't think they were awful in Paisley last week, and I don't think there'll be sort of an exception of that. So I think we will need to weather that storm. Maybe a little bit similar to what happened against Rangers at Easter Road. I thought Hibs sort of just let Rangers come on to us for 10 minutes or so, and then we really sort of done kind of what I'm saying. Like, there was a couple of times where Boyle and Yuan were sort of left one on sort of 2v2 with their centre backs, and we got in behind a few times. I think that's how Hibs go and win the game. I think we do it by being on the front foot, and Nicky Cadden will be a massive part of that. Obviously, Jordan Obita has been confirmed as being out. It'll be interesting to see what Hearts do at right back. They were playing Steinvender at right back at Easter Road, and he had an absolute nuke, just consistently passed the ball out the pitch. He played against St Mirren as well, but he did sign a right back in January. Is probably maybe not too dissimilar from Paslak, very much a front-footed sort of full-back, wing-back player. I think it'll be really interesting, but I think Nicky Cadden's going to be massive for Hibs, just regardless of what Hearts do on the right-hand side of the fence, but especially if it's Steinvender. because I just think there's no real threat coming from him the other direction. And I mean, maybe that's jinxing anything, but he's a centre back playing at right back. So you would find that Nicky Cadden can kind of cheat a little bit with that and really exploit that sort of space that would naturally give him, as opposed to like a natural fullback.
But you know what, Ewan, you've listed about 4 starters. So why don't you rattle off your ideal 11 first?
So I put obviously Salinger on goals. I think Warner Hora will probably come straight back into the team. He trained. He's. I don't know if today was his first training session. So if they said today was his first training session, maybe not. But no. I think he probably will play. I think he'll come in for Garananga. Rocky would stay central. Jack Iredale, Nicky Cadden. I think right wing back, there's definitely questions. I'd be keen to sort of get your guys' thoughts. I'd probably still lean Paslak. I think I want Hibs. I think if with the sort of more physical, maybe front two that I've mentioned, I would go with. I'd be looking for that pace in the wide areas. Then I'd go with midfield 3 of Chaiba, Barlaser, and Josh Campbell. I mentioned Josh Campbell earlier. I think that's combative. It'll help you. I think Josh Campbell could do a job on someone like Beningame. I think Beningame is massive to if Hearts actually want to play football. I think everything goes through him. I think without him, they're very meat and two veg, if I'm being totally honest. So I think you could potentially be looking at Campbell doing a bit of a job on him. And obviously he carries his well-known threat from set pieces and other areas. So yeah, I mean that's probably what I would go with. If Warner Hora was on the bench and Garananga played, I'd be comfortable with that as well, though. What about you guys?
I was actually going to ask you a question, just given what you were saying about Nicky Cadden. Pretty much, feel like we were probably forced, in a sense, to play Nicky Cadden. Not that it's a negative or anything like that, but do you think that has an influence on the Megwa Paslak decision?
Maybe,
given maybe Nicky Cadden is a much more attacking option. Do you play the more defensive option in Megwa to provide that balance?
Yeah, maybe. I think there's probably a really good. No, you probably highlight that. Perhaps Megwa will play. I just think when we're thinking about if Paslak doesn't, if he doesn't have that first 15 minutes up to his booking, I don't actually think we've got any doubt about playing him. Like, I don't think after that 15 minutes he looked out of sorts at all. So, like, it depends really. What do you value more? Does that first 10 minutes or so really stick in your mind, or do you think about it in the sense that not much else came down that side after that, and he probably eased into the game, and he was massively influential for our first goal as well.
Robbed of an assist as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Megwa plays Craig, but I would, given that I think I've kind of went quite, 2 physical forwards, Josh Campbell in midfield. I think Chaiba plays, Barlaser plays, Warner Hora. Like, I think there's enough. Even it's Jack Iredale at left centre back. It's not Jordan Obita. Like, I think you've still got enough defensive solidity there that you could play both of them. But yeah, you never know. But also, Megwa played really well in the Derby at Easter Road as well, and he played really well against Rangers recently. So, like, it's a good look. I think it's a good scenario to be in. I'm guessing you would lean Megwa.
It's one I've tossed and turned on all week, to be honest, since the game. And I'm kind of trying to take out that first 15 minutes out of my mind and try not to let that influence it at all, because in terms of experience and sort of profile and presence, I've got no worries about Paslak, given everything that he's done in his career, about playing at Tynecastle. Like, I don't think he comes in with the same sort of new signing fear of playing him in a big game at Tynecastle, because he's seen so much throughout his career that I can't imagine that will intimidate him too much where it would affect his performance. But I just feel like Megwa's been really solid defensive recently, and I think that sort of know-how of this game would maybe aid him. And obviously I touched on earlier, and also sort of mentioned it after the last derby, the job that Megwa done on Giziridis with the massive help I felt of Josh Mulligan. and stopping. They were basically doubling up on him. Josh Mulligan was coming back and stopping Kizaridis cutting inside, and then Megwa just had to show him the line or go out and engage with him. So I'd be tempted to play Josh Campbell in the middle for his legs, and also to basically tell him to do what Josh Mulligan done in the last derby and really shut off that
to the inside,
that cut inside from Kizaridis. And I know obviously people are quite often reluctant to focus too much on the opposition and more focus on what we can do. But again, I think it's probably naive not to accept that is a danger point of Hearts' play and try and put something in place that means you can stop it. And then apart from that, like you say, there's massive other benefits to having Josh Campbell in the pack, especially in a derby. I think it's probably one of the games that suits him. And then if you play him with somebody else that kind of makes up for his weaknesses, maybe on the ball sense and his calmness, you've got Ballas there for that. And then I'd also be looking at that midfield three to maybe Kai Andrews, because I feel like he's kind of the middle ground between Ballister and Chaiwa in terms of he's got that composure and calmness on the ball, but he does also have a good bit of athleticism about him as well. So I feel like he kind of bridges that gap, and then you've maybe hit one of each of the extremes. I feel like you've got one guy that's kind of good at both, and then one each of either end of that athleticism spectrum, I feel like. So that would be my midfield.
Is there any consideration, and there's none, it is a 0% for me, if I'm being honest, but is there anything in either of your minds that we would see a similar setup to that against Dundee United, where it was very much free up front?
That'd be an absolute disaster. I don't think we can go into this game without three in the middle of the park. I know that Campbell's probably going to be a bit more advanced than your traditional three, but I just think that was the type of game we could allow transition back and forth.
It was kind of matching up with Dundee United, wasn't it, as well?
I just think at Tynecastle, like, they're always going to stuff the middle of the pitch. It'd fill me with a lot of dread going into the game if we didn't really have those bodies in the middle of the park. And one thing that I'd say different to you and different to a lot of Hibs fans at the moment, like, I wouldn't want to go into this game without starting Martin Boyle. I just think he's got a really good goal return this year, and I think that he's our captain at the moment. I know that Neil's the club captain, but Boyle's had the armband on almost every game this season. So for me, he'd be an absolute stick on to start. So agreed with Remy Cool there. And even though he hit the bar in the last derby at Tynecastle, it was still a really, like, that's the chances he always tends to get when we go through there. And
he did score he was like marginally offside as well, didn't he?
Like, I always back him in the big games, and I just, for me, him and Scarlett need to be up top, and then Shuto having a player of that quality off the bench in the second half, I think would be mega. So for me, and who was your midfield three? Ewan, was it Chaiwa?
Chaiwa, Ballas. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I don't mind that. Like, I think for Newell, I always like to have the balance of a left-footed player, but I just don't think that. I think he was good against Rangers, but I don't think he's got enough legs in him to.
Do you think there's any way that Jamie McGrath comes in from the cold out of his injury? We've seen obviously scored in the last derby. He's played in a sort of variety of different roles in the midfield as well. He's played left wing back. He's played sort of left out free. He's played number 10. Like, any thought that Jamie McGrath might come straight back in?
If he was in over Campbell, I wouldn't have any issues. Like, those are the two that are kind of coin flip for me.
So I'm just concerned about rushing him back, to be honest. I would be. I feel like we've done that with a few players in recent times. It's maybe not paid off.
Is it different when it's a short-term injury, Craig? Do you think? Like, he played at Falkirk, and he he pulled up the day before Rangers. So you're only talking a week. Would that be a week? Aye. Mm-hmm. So
these guys are the best to make the decisions on these ones that are in the building. Jamie will know himself whether it's something that if he aggravates it's going to get way worse and then he's out for longer. They'll know that, or whether it's just a wee knock and he's not really too worried about it. He just needed a week to let it rest. So I would, again, similar to Harry, I wouldn't have any major concerns about it, or it wouldn't be like, oh no, McGrath's starting. Obviously it's a positive, but my slight concern would just be rushing him back too early and putting too many minutes into him too quickly.
I just flashed a question up from Jane there around LAU, and probably our best option against Rangers and certainly in the first half against Dundee United. However, neither or none of the three of us have really mentioned him starting. Is it? Why do you think that is, Harry? Like, do you think, are you sort of in a similar sense to me that maybe it's going to be more direct? He's not going to have the space. Like what?
I think Ellie Yuan is brilliant, and I absolutely love Ellie Yuan. But I just think that Boyle's record in this game and the leadership he brings, as well as I just think Scarlett's simply a better player than Yuan, and I think that if it was between Yuan Shuto and what do you call it, Yuan Shuto and Boyle, because for me, Scarlett's the first striker until he proves otherwise. Like, he's the first striker that I'm playing. Then his partner, you just put around him, and I just think that Shuto and Boyle at the moment get the nod for me. If Yuan's not going to be here beyond the season, then I'd always prioritise players that probably are. But yeah, it's harsh. Like, again, he's another player. If he starts, then I don't mind. I don't mind. I'd be delighted. I love Ellie Yuan, but it's just at the moment, if I was picking a team, gun to the head, Yuan probably isn't in it at the current second.
So, spoke a lot about players there, maybe some key battles, and definitely highlighted sort of our right-hand side versus Kizaridis, who's almost a dead set, to line up on the left-hand side for Hearts. Spoke about how we could potentially exploit Hearts' defensive weaknesses, as silly as that sounds, given their relative strength at home. But you think Rocky's in for a big afternoon, a big evening? Obviously, they've been playing Kabori up front, probably a much different threat, much compared to what you would have seen, with a Lawrence Shankland. Something though I think that Rocky would enjoy, maybe more than if it was Braga down the middle, for example.
I think they're all going to be in for a difficult game. Rocky's obviously been to Tynecastle a number of times now. He kind of knows what to expect. I don't think it'll be anything too differently. I don't think Hearts will play massively different to what they do in a normal derby, and probably neither will we end up playing massively different, because they tend to suck both teams into the derby style of play. So I just think they've all got to be strong. All three of them have got to be strong and got to be resolute and put their head on everything, and don't try and be too cute around the edge of their own box, because I think that's, on such a tight pitch, can be your undoing at times there. Mm-hmm. So Rocky will be massive for us. I feel like he's starting maybe to get a wee bit of a run back together. He's come back into the team in relatively recent weeks anyway, and I feel he's been fairly solid over that period of time. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Rocky, and I think he's a guy that if he's on it, he can be massive for us and can sort of lead us to a nice victory.
Mm. If I was to put some different permutations into the give you them, tell me how you think Hibs would respond, or who would be the standout player that would allow that to happen from a positive sense. So if Hibs go to Tynecastle and we take real control of the game, and we score inside the first 20-30 minutes, who do you think is the most important players that would allow us to do that?
Dane Scarlett. Honestly, I'm falling in love with this boy since he's come to Easter Road. I think he just looks class. He's got absolute class in his boots, and I feel like he's going to thrive at Tynecastle because he's got nice feet. He seems like he's good in tight areas, and I don't know. He's just got this. Seems like he's got a wee bit of an aura about him and a wee bit of like positive arrogance in a way that he just. I've obviously listened to his interviews today, and I don't know. I just get a vibe off him that he's ready to go, and I think he's going to be massive for us. And to be honest, he'd be the one that I'd be looking to, even though he's only 21 and he's just come up the road, and it's what his third spell in a first team dressing room. I'd be looking for him to provide that calm around the edge of the box in an attacking sense. I mean, and pick out passes and get shots away. I can't remember if you guys touched on it too much, but his passing during the week was absolutely superb. That ball that he played through for Paslak for the one where Boyle hit the bar. My God, what a pass! I mean, that was like a Scotty Allen style of pass. And then he's got on top of that, he's got that attacking, real attacking threat as well. And he's physical. Should have had a Stonewall penalty, by the way, just to
Oh my God! I know we didn't even mention that, June. I know, that was crazy.
So to me, just off the first two games, he would definitely be one of the guys that I'm looking to that could win us this game.
I don't know. It might not suit your agenda, your ongoing agenda against our on loan Middlesbrough player. But when I'm thinking about if Hibs are going to control a game of football, I think that Dan Barlasser's having a good game.
I was literally just about to say, I'm all for this. This is going to be the final. I'm going to take some digs before the end of the episode because this is going to be the final time I have an agenda. Because guys, you're not ready. This time tomorrow will be 15 minutes in to a Dan Barlasser legacy game. He's secured himself a move to a Premier League club because he's going to play that well in tomorrow night's derby. He's going to be gravy. Hibs Observer.
It'll be 1 minute in just for as 8 o'clock.
Oh, is it 8 o'clock? Oh, damn. Well, one into a derby. Brilliant. But Hibs Observer put up a piece today, and I felt very heard. They said that he deals in games against the top four. He hasn't been as efficient, but he has to have the big game. He has to. A couple of players that I do really want big performances from, just because I think they've stepped up of late, is one, Jack Iredale. I think he's been really good the last couple of times I've seen him. And two, Chaiwa. I thought he was really good against Dundee United. And if he can carry that form into this game, I think we've got a really good chance. Because the thing for me that set us on a really good streak last year wasn't every single player in the team playing 10 out of 10. It was the kind of good workmanlike footballers bringing their performances up to consistent sevens, whilst you had one or two players putting in 9s or 10s every week. So for me, we just need the players to do their jobs essentially, and I think that we're in for a really good chance of any game that we play. But for me, Dan the man, as of this time tomorrow, hopefully, shut me up. These guys can rinse me for that the rest of the season.
Yeah.
See, I know. So I'm just going to make a point on Barlasser. In a sort of strange sense, obviously we've been talking about legs and bringing Chaiwa in, and I was talking about bringing Campbell in to provide you with that legs. I think in a strange sort of turn of events that going to Tynecastle actually maybe plays to Barlasser's strengths because it is such a tight pitch, and in a derby, a lot of the football actually doesn't get to tend to get stretched out to the wings. It's very tight and it's all very in the middle. So do you think that maybe actually benefits him in a sense because he doesn't maybe have to do
perhaps
quite as much side to side running as he maybe would otherwise?
That's good. I could be totally wrong with it. You feel different at different football grounds, but I always feel the derbies at Tynecastle are more frantic as well. You know, generally speaking, I think football breaks out more often at Easter Road than at Tynecastle. Probably just with the nature of the pitch being a bit wider and a bit longer, and I don't know. I could be totally wrong there, but like we've seen 5 goals at Christmas time. I'm not going into the game tomorrow night expecting to see another 5 goals, and yes, you're probably right, Craig. Like, that lends itself to him standing out more. You know, because like if the game is going 100 miles an hour, but then he does show the ability that we know he has, and I think what highlights that is there's no consideration that he won't play. Do you know, like that? Like, so that tells you, you know, you can talk about would Chaiwa play or Newell play or Campbell play or McGrath, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we're all very much of the opinion it'll be Dan Barlasser and 2 others. Like, and that in itself, I think, shows obviously the qualities that we all think he has, and that should allow him to excel tomorrow night, I think, because of the tight nature, because the 100 miles an hour. If he can just show that element of Cam, I think we'll play well. I mean, we've seen it enough this season. You know, like at Pittodrie's his best game, and it's probably the most control Hibs have had in a game all season. So that was one permutation. How the Hibs get on the front foot early? Let's say Hibs aren't fully in control, and with 20 minutes to go, half an hour to go, we're chasing a goal. Be that to win the game or to come back in the game. The bench feels a lot more healthy now. You know, you're talking about Jamie McGrath being back in the squad, at least maybe starting Eliu, Shuto, Martin Boyle, you know, whatever combination of strikers. There's options there. If Hibs find themselves up against it going late into the game, who would you be turning to give you that X factor and flip the game on its head?
Shuto. I personally wouldn't start him. I know you guys. I think did you both say?
I
that?
said I
No,
would.
I said Boyle over Shooter.
Right. I think with Nicky Cadden hopefully still being on the park late on, he's a guy that can pick him out clearly. And I think maybe when defenders are feeling a bit more tired, he can come on, be fresh, and he's going to be springy in his jump. And I'd be looking to put a lot of balls into the box and put a lot of pressure on Hearts late on if we're needing that goal. So definitely him. It just gives me the impression that he's just going to cause chaos in the box, and defenders are not going to like playing against him. So I would put him in and try and pepper as many balls into the box late on as you can.
Mm-hmm. The reason I think I would start him is I just think, again, like Tynecastle, like tight pitch, like just get the ball in early. And I think you need, like, I think too often in Rangers we were putting good balls in the box, but you're trying to hit Martin Boyle and Ellie Ewan. It's kind of got to be perfect for them to do something sort of in the air, and I think it's ready made for him to start tomorrow. And the reason, so to answer my own question, I would actually then be looking at Scarlett and Shuto to sort of just go out there, put 65 minutes in, run yourselves into the ground, fight for every ball. Oh, and by the way, here come Martin Boyle and Ellie Ewan now to run at you. Do you know, like that? It's almost like that's how I would see the game unfolding. Maybe, Harry, where would you land on sort of the players to be that X factor off the bench?
Look, I don't mind. Like, I like the concept of get your physical, bigger players on from the off and just get them to hound them and break them down essentially before you get your faster players on. The thing is, for me, I just at Tynecastle, it always feels like you need to try and score earlier in the game than later, because this Hearts team, the reason that they're so efficient is because they score goals and then they've got the capability of just sitting deep and not being broke down. I know there's a few times they've handed out batterings and stuff, but the games that they squeaked results like Dundee away and St Mirren at home when they were down to 10 in both those games, like they're just really strong at sitting in. So for me, I'd just rather try and get goals earlier on, and I think players that stretch the game are more likely to do that early in the game at Tynecastle. And I think the physicality and the inverse, I think if you bring them on late in the game, that'll be kind of like what will put their heads down and kind of sink them. But I think Gray's got like 4 or 5 really strong options that he can play up top, and I don't think I'd be disappointed in any of them. The only thing I'd be disappointed in, I'd want at least one of Scarlett or Shooter to start. If both of them were on the bench, then I'd probably be a bit confused.
I think that'd be a big surprise, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Right. Referee.
Do you want a fun fact before you do the referee?
Absolutely.
In the last 10 Edinburgh derbies, we have won 4, drawn 4, and lost 2. I just think that's quite an impressive stat, to be fair, considering that one of those defeats was a last-minute one earlier in the season, which Hearts absolutely didn't outplay us.
And then there'd be a last-minute equaliser for them in one of the draws last season.
Aye. And then I can't remember what happened on the 27th of December, but that was 1-0 at Easter Road. Like, it's been a good run in the last 3-4 seasons for Hibs and Edinburgh derbies, so there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't have confidence. Like, even when we have looked in poor form, we still performed in derbies.
Look, I'm going into the game tomorrow with, I think, as much confidence as you're entitled to be as the team that's at 5th in the league going away to the team that are top of the league that are unbeaten at home. Like, and if anything, when you say it like that, my confidence levels probably outweigh that. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think Hibs are set up to have a really strong end to the season. I think we've got good options. I think we've got a variety in the front areas now that we just didn't have. I know that sounds simple, but like, we kind of had Bowie, and then it was either Bowie and Boyle or Bowie and Cleegee. Like, Ellie Ewan's only come in the last few weeks, but like the way we were utilising Bowie as well, I don't think that was even his best attributes. I think it's one start for Scarlett, but I feel like Scarlett is better fit to the role that we want that striker to play. I don't think Bowie was amazing at holding the ball up and sort of being that rough and ready striker. So I think Hibs are really set up well to go on and have a positive end to the season, which obviously lends to my confidence that we'll go and certainly get something from the game tomorrow night. But as ever, these games are always sort of decided on individual moments of madness, individual moments of real quality, It'll be scrappy. It'll be messy. But unfortunately, sometimes individual moments of madness, individual moments, they get overshadowed by referee, and we are being joined by none other than Nick Walsh and Andrew Dallas as our referee and our VAR. And you just want the referee to be strong, don't you, in these games, and try and let the game flow as much as possible. But Nick Walsh just doesn't. I think he's a school teacher ref.
There's not really any refs that were going to be announced that everybody was going to be like, oh, brilliant. That's the one I wanted. I think everybody would probably be dissatisfied with what Warren had been announced. I actually would probably disagree slightly, and I don't think he's one of the worst ones that we could have got, to be honest. Like for both sides, because obviously I don't think it's you look at it in a sense of, oh, he's going to be more in favour of them or anything like that. There's definitely other ones there that I would have cringed at a lot more. Had been.
If it was Clancy, I wouldn't be gone.
And what's his name? Was it David Dickinson? The big tall
He's
one.
the worst.
He is the worst. So that's probably one that I would have cringed at a lot more. So to be honest, I'm actually really not that bothered. I don't think it should have touch wood have a massive influence on the game. I think we should really be looking to influence the game a lot more ourselves, given that it is 90 minutes. So one refereeing decision shouldn't hopefully change that, although it can.
What does a Hibs win? I know you detest talking about referees, so I won't make you. What does a Hibs win do for the rest of the season?
Mate, it means I can come on the podcast and start shouting out everybody that's been slagging me off on Twitter. Nah, I'm joking. For me, like, we just need to keep aiming as high as possible. Like, I think there is genuinely a chance that one of the top three, none of them, I think Motherwell, footballing wise and performance wise, have consistently been the better team in their games. And I don't think that Celtic, Rangers or Hearts have been doing that. And I do think that one of the three of them could potentially fall into a battle for third. So for me, we just need to simply keep winning games. If we win this game, we're in a really good position. Keep on doing so. So all we have to do is look up. No offence to any Dundee United and Aberdeen fans, if you're listening, I don't know why you would be. Absolutely horrendous football teams and won't be in the top six. So it's at the moment, it's get enough distance between us and Falkirk, and then apart from that, just look up. There's reason with the players we've got that we shouldn't be thinking, let's try and finish as high as possible.
You're talking about looking up, obviously. And it's interesting because I feel like there's been a trend amongst the Hibs support, definitely recently, but certainly over the years. I mean, I think it's just a permanent thing in football fans to look ahead to a few fixtures and go, oh, fucking hell, if we lose that game, if we lose this game, and if we lose that game after that, Falkirk will take us, we'll be 10 points up Motherwell. And you go, well, flip it the other way. If you win every game, then we're all right. But see, even just this next week, if you look at how massive it could be for purely from a Hibs point of view, but also from just a more narrative point of view around Hibs and around Hibs' season, because obviously how well Hearts are doing absolutely undoubtedly has an impact on the feeling around Hibs. So obviously, and what I'm about to say, anybody could just flip the other way and say, yeah, but what if? Because it is all but what ifs. So you look at it, and we win tomorrow night, and then Celtic and Rangers win their games. So then Rangers would then be level with Hearts. We'd be a point off Motherwell, and Rangers would be playing Hearts. I think they play very shortly, maybe even the weekend.
Yeah, the weekend.
So then we're right on Motherwell's tails. Rangers are playing Motherwell, so it can all change very quickly in football, and it's amazing that obviously a few weeks ago everybody was saying, or I'm at it a couple of weeks ago off the back of Dunfermline and Falkirk defeats, everybody's looking at it and so doom and gloom about it. But you just need to put a wee run together, and it can change so quickly, and the narrative of your seasons can change so quickly. So I definitely think that we should be looking at this last part of the season definitely positively, even regardless if we lose tomorrow night. There is absolutely still opportunity after it to do something and to have a go for fourth. Obviously, every game that you lose and every game that ticks away, you're then looking at you're going to have to go on some sort of good run, obviously. But it's not without the realms of possibility. So let's have a wee bit of positivity going into the end of the season. We've exited the January transfer window stronger than we went into it, which is not easy to do in January. And quite often we've seen at Hibs, January transfer windows can be transformational and can turn a season around. We've seen it in a number of seasons. So why can't this be one? And why can't we go on a tear and definitely be looking to get that 4th spot? And then maybe if you put a good enough run together, you can maybe start to look at 3rd. But obviously that's a wee bit in the distance. Just focus on 4th for now. Win tomorrow and you're potentially a point off them. So
yeah, 100%. Right. We are going to finish with a first goal scorer pick and a score prediction. If you want to back any of the doubles that we predict here, feel free. I would suggest probably not, given our relative success at score predictions this season. Do you know what? I'll set us off. I am going to go for. What am I going to go for? I am going to go for Dane Scarlett, first goal scorer, 2-1 Hibs. That's what I'm going to go for.
I feel like there's going to be a wee bit of a theme here. I feel like we're all expecting.
You're allowed
Dane
a head and
Scarlett
a heart. You can go for a head and a heart prediction if you wish as well, if they are providing different outcomes right now.
Mate, if you asked me that in every single derby, my head would always say we're going to get pumped. So, and my heart would always say we're going to win 10-0. Yeah, I think there's going to be a theme because I think we all think Scarlett's going to start and we all love him. We all think he's brilliant. And I was definitely going to say Scarlett and 2-1 Hibs, but I'll go Scarlett and 3-1 just to mix it up.
Harry?
I only like to do things and have fun. So for me, I'm not giving you a first goal scorer, Ewan. I'm giving you 3-0 Hibs because in the last minute of the game, Shuto is going to score on the break and make it 3-0. It's going to be beautiful. I'll stick with that. Yeah, why not? I think it'll be a great game. I think we'll score in the first half. I think we'll score midway through the second half. And then it'll just be kind of a fizzled out game, but we'll nick one more at the end. It'll be an historic 3-0 win to the Cabbage.
I'd just like to highlight that Ramy in the chat said Braga's going to score first, but I think that is a 6-2 Hibs, similar to back in the day. But I think Hibs are...
A comeback win would be lovely, by the way. A comeback win would be...
I don't want to go behind me. I couldn't deal with that.
Mate, see, to win for behind at Tynecastle, I think that would just be unbelievable because the amount of character that they'd have to show to front up that storm right after. See, after they scored, if they scored first, like the atmosphere in that place, and to come back and win off the back of that would be something special.
So we've
say something that was going to be jinxed on here, but I'll message you afterwards because I'm not jinxed myself. No.
So we've got we've maybe given our sensible predictions. You know, we've predicted scorers. We'll finish on dream winner. Who is the dream winning goal scorer for Hibs? I've seen a couple of rocky shouts in the chat there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Maz has put in the chat a Bashiri last minute winner. Honestly, I would need ambulance treatment after that one. The shins would never recover from the baton that they would take bouncing about the place. So
I don't even know if he'll be on the park at the time. Hibs are on the attack. Cadden gets down the left-hand side, whips it in, breaks. Joe Newell steps onto it at the edge of the box, rockets it into the top corner.
Beck's hands Homer season ticket.
Oh, beautiful scenes. MacArthur family never go to another game again.
Ken, what I would love. It was one of the angriest moments of the season, but he's gonna again. This is a legacy game. This is a redemption arc. Free kick from 40 yards out. Dan Barlasser's hitting his knuckleball drive top corner. Swallow's not got a clue what's going on. Bang.
Oh, by the way, can I just highlight another guy as well? Can you imagine? Because I've actually had visions of it all week. Since usually like a derby, you start talking about maybe a week or two before. Like since the Dundee United game ended, I've been in my head, and pretty much since he signed, I've just been visualising Shuto with a header into our end, and just like puffing his chest out and looking hard as fuck. I don't did you watch his interviews, like quick fire question interview, and they were asking him if he liked telly, and he's like, "No, I don't like telly. Do you like films? No, I don't like films." I was like, "This guy, he just doesn't give a fuck. He's brilliant. I love
this guy. He just looks arrogant, hard as fuck, and perfect. That's what it looks. But yes, Hibs are going to win tomorrow night. We're going to win the Edinburgh Derby. We're going to win 2 derbies in a row. We're going to send Hearts into a fucking whirlwind of a tailspin, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. All we're going to be singing tomorrow night is Hibs away for 90 minutes straight. That's what we're going to get. And of course, we'll be back to talk all about it. If we win, probably on Wednesday morning. If we lose, next Monday. Cheers.
Come on.
Cheers.